All right, our next speaker, Iris Wigley. Iris is a proud Wichita, Kansas native, and despite various barriers in her life, she is the first Black deaf person in her family to earn a master's degree. As a deaf individual, she is passionate about education, accessibility, breaking barriers, and bringing the community together. Come on up, Iris.
Good evening. My name is Iris Wigley. I am born to deaf parents, and my siblings are also deaf. I have 2 children. My oldest is also deaf. I come from a long line of deaf people, and that is a big part of who I am. We can talk a lot about barriers that people face. I have my master's in deaf ed, and I am a teacher of deaf children in the public schools, as well as I teach ASL. I want to talk about who I was as a child, and then also how far I've come. Oftentimes when we talk about barriers that people are overcoming, they're talking about one major thing. But for me, really, there are small barriers that show up in my life on a daily basis, things that people generally don't notice. For example, if I want to go through the drive-thru, there's often a sign there that says, if you need help ordering, please go to the window. But then once I go to the window, they'll say, no, I'm sorry, you're going to have to get out of the car and come inside. That really defeats the entire purpose of the drive-thru and the sign they have. An additional example I have is if I'm going to go to a doctor's appointment. Maybe I'm there on time, but the interpreter doesn't show up. So now I have a couple of options. Do I reschedule, or do I go ahead and take that appointment, but now it may go 3 times longer because perhaps the doctor and I are writing back and forth to communicate. That's a major frustration for me. If I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm looking for something specific, I try to find an employee who can help me, and oftentimes when I'm going to ask, they walk away, and then they might come back later with somebody else, and all they had to do was read my little note on my phone. Let's say that I want to do a date night, and I want to go to the movies. Oftentimes, open captioned movies are only offered once at a specific time and a specific day. So if that doesn't work out for me, I miss out. My other option might be these glasses that have captioning on there. But oftentimes, they die in the middle of the movie. Now I've got to go to the front, get those, and then come back, and I've missed part of the movie. Technology has done a lot to improve the lives of deaf people in my own life in communicating with people in real time, like speech to text, and that's a nice thing. Video relay service is a great service now that I can use to call and make a doctor's appointment or order food, which means I don't have to depend on a hearing person to make that call for me. Another technology that we have is FaceTime, which gives me a wonderful opportunity to communicate with my family and my friends. But don't be mistaken, while it helps me navigate through these barriers of my life on a daily basis, it doesn't remove everything. And going through that on a daily basis, overcoming each one of those little barriers can be exhausting. Now, I do try to stay positive and try to encourage myself to keep going. But there are days that it's really hard to get through the day sometimes. I do what I can to adapt and to celebrate the wins as I overcome those small things on a daily basis. One of those that I like to celebrate is when hearing people are willing to make the effort to communicate with me directly. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not sharing these stories for pity. That's not what this is about. Sometimes people will ask me, if you had a chance, don't you wish you could be hearing? And my answer is very simply no. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of being deaf, because being deaf is not the barrier. The barrier is the world around me that's created for hearing people only. I choose pride and advocacy as I navigate my day. Thank you.